Okay, one of the questions I've been confronted with many times is the professionalism in the real estate domain. Now, let's be very clear on this. Now, professionalism is a very loosely used word in business, but what professionalism are we talking about? Are we talking about people? Are we talking about process? Are we talking about products? What exactly is the professionalism that people definitely desire for, and quite rightly so? Now, my understanding of professionalism is that is how business is conducted to the satisfaction of the three people involved in a transaction, which is the developer, which is the end user, and the intermediaries. Now, I'm not really looking at the developer side of the professionalism because that's too large a subject to touch base in a few minutes. Now, let's look at the professionalism between the broker community. Let's look at the professionalism or the relationship between the consumer and the mediator. Now, I might sound like a cynic, but let me compare two industries. One is the real estate, which is purported to be a $150 billion opportunity in India. And we are talking about IT, which is, as in Hindi say, Hindustan ki naak hai, and globally we are recognized to be a professional service provider in the IT domain. Now, NASSCOM predicts the IT business exports from India, IT is put together, at about $120 billion. Now, does this industry, everybody included in this, recognize that it's a $150 billion business? And the only difference between IT and real estate is probably today the quality of people. Right? It is the people who take the decision on product, it is the people who take the decision on processes, it is the people who take the decision on purchase, etc., etc., etc. Traditionally, real estate brokerage space was run primarily by first-timers, mom-and-pop stores. Then came the influx of the international property consulting firms who had domain knowledge, probably with a larger global view, but they could not probably have the same level of expertise when it comes to the local dynamics. So real estate has always been a local play. Then probably a few years ago, about 5-7 years back, came these organized brokerage spaces, so-called organized, who had larger teams. They operated on scale, but sometime during 2013, the second half slump, 2014, the first quarter, these large brokerage spaces also could not meet their objectives. Now, the consumer has sharpened or wizened to the fact that, scale in number of people or the total turnover that one does not indicate expertise. Now, we have had incidents in Noida where, towers ready and the courts have ordered demolition. We have had scams on land, we have had scams on the housing allotment by the state bodies, etc. Now, some of the larger players have been involved. Now, the expertise, when we talk about expertise, let's be sure of one factor, as to what is the credible background of the person you are dealing with, one. Two, is he there by default or by design? Right? When the older mom and pop stores, the business was handed over from one generation to another, and then the scale up always happened within the family. But when I'm talking about professional agencies, probably I have been credited for having created one such organization where everybody in business is here by design. Right? Everybody has had global exposure in the corporate world, moved in, saw the opportunity of land being a large chunk of business where there are no professional entities. Either the option was to go to a local villager turned broker, or probably to a larger IPC who did not have the ability to go to the field and buy land. So one has to be very sure whether the transaction specialist you are hiring for a specialist job, namely a large ticket investment into land, whether they have the expertise at the macro knowledge level? They have the expertise or knowledge bank at the middle policy and philosophy of the government level, or do they have the expertise at the bottom transaction level? Now, concerning land, do not be fooled that you need somebody who can take you through the entire spectrum of services, and look for professionals who can deliver that rather than those who have inherited businesses or are there by default and not by design.